So the boss of Mercedes says that the new S-Class is the best car in the world. That sounds like something we've got to try out for ourselves, doesn't it? So what we'll do is we've got ourselves a new S-Class over here. As you can see, there's quite a few of them. We'll go on a little road trip. So we're in the middle of Toronto at the moment, and we're going to head about 250 miles north to a place called Lake Muskoka. And hopefully that will give us a better idea of if this really is the best car in the world.
First up, here are a few reasons why it could be. It's the first ever car to ditch light bulbs completely, so it uses 56 LEDs in the headlights, 35 LEDs in the taillights, and there are up to 300 of them in the interior. Speaking of the interior, you just have to take it all in. Everything you touch feels like it's been lifted from a luxury yacht and engineered to within an inch of its life to feel robust and luxurious. You've got two massive 12.3-inch screens sitting in front of you, and there are hundreds of options designed to make life just that little bit more comfortable in the cabin.
So we can start the first part of the journey from the back seats, and look how much space I've got back here. In this car, we've got the executive seat package, which is the top seating package you can get. It costs about £5,000, but then you get seats that recline at 43.5 degrees, you get a leg rest, and you can push the passenger seat forward as well. So I'm actually pretty much lying down at the moment. Then on top of that, if you're not comfortable enough already, you can always go for a hot stone massage, and it uses 14 different air cushions in the back of the seat and some targeted heating as well to try and recreate a hot stone massage. And yeah, it kind of does really work. But if that doesn't float your boat, then there's always the choice of another 5 different massage settings. Then after that, it's either work or play, because there's a Wi-Fi hotspot in here and some fancy airline style pull-out tables, so you can just get your laptop out and maybe catch up on a few emails. But if you don't want to do that, then you've also got these screens in front of you here, so they're hooked up to a hard drive and a high-performance Intel processor, and that means that I can watch one film, my friend can be watching another, I can be doing emails, or he can be watching a film. Then on top of that, you've got some other fancy options like a heated armrest here, a heated door panel here, and then there's also an air conditioning system which includes 5 different fragrances, so you can have some nice perfumed air in the cabin.
More than all of its clever technology, what you normally associate an S-Class with is the ultimate ride quality and refinement. A couple of years ago, you would have put money on the latest model getting some kind of active noise-cancelling tech, but that hasn't happened, and you can totally see why. It's a very German way of doing things, but Mercedes has eschewed all that fancy tech and just engineered it to be quieter.
So that means thicker double glazing, it means better door sills, and it means better aerodynamics too. And the result is something that you could genuinely say was about as refined as a Rolls-Royce Phantom. For example, I mean, we're doing 80 clicks now, so that's 50 miles an hour, and you could easily whisper to everyone in this car, and you'd definitely be able to hear what they were saying. It's that good. And around town, say if you pull up to something like a diesel-powered truck, you're right next to the engine, you can barely hear anything. It's kind of like driving around with ear defenders on. And ride comfort, again, it's impeccable. I mean, it's probably not quite as good as the Rolls-Royce, and you do feel occasionally with those heavy alloy wheels, you feel a bit of a thud into a pothole or something like that, but on the whole, it's really, really smooth and really comfortable. And it gets even better too in the V8 S500, because you can specify that with a system called Magic Body Control, and what that does is scans the road ahead using a camera mounted just behind the rearview mirror. And so you get 15 meters ahead of you, it can see bumps and potholes and things, and it sets up the suspension accordingly. So we had a little go earlier going over some speed bumps with that, with the system turned on and turned off. And with it turned on, you can barely feel that there's a speed bump there at all. It just seems to soak it up. And I think if you were blindfolded, you probably genuinely wouldn't notice that it was there. It's that good.
Under the bonnet, the S-Class comes with an engine to suit everyone. There's a 3-litre V6 diesel in the S350, capable of 51.4 mpg, or there's a diesel-electric S300 hybrid that can do 64 mpg. There's even a plug-in S500 on the way, and that's expected to be even more efficient than a Toyota Prius. Then, at the other end of the scale, you've got the twin-turbo V8-powered S500, capable of 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds. And even faster than that, we know there's an S63 AMG coming up too.
Right, so here we are in Muskoka Lakes Marine, a good few hours later, and a couple of hundred miles too. And the thing is, I don't feel like I've done a long journey at all. This car is just that relaxing. But back to the big question, I suppose. Best car in the world? Well, look, this car costs well under £100,000 depending on spec. So that's about a third of the price of a Rolls-Royce Phantom, and this thing feels just as relaxed and even perhaps a little bit more high-tech. So taking everything into account, yeah, the Mercedes S-Class could just be the best car in the world.